Hi there, I'm Suzanne, your friendly Stampin' Up demonstrator in Canada. Welcome to my monthly paper pumpkin alternative video on my YouTube channel and blog. I share 5 alternative ways to use the kit in this video, and I sell the products I feature as well. I hope you enjoy my free video tutorial and would love to see you sign up with me as a Paper Pumpkin subscriber. Visit sunstampin.com for more information. Hello and welcome to all you crafters out there. This is my alternative video for the Paper Pumpkin for the month of December 2018. We had it was a challenge for sure. It was a calendar. We've got 2 different colored ink spots, and I'm not exactly sure why there's a lot of to and from tags here, and then a clear box to which it was not necessarily, if I had done this kit the way you were supposed to do it, I don't know if I would have liked it, but I have to say that I actually really love this kit now because I managed to get some really awesome cards by doing my alternatives. So for this one, I took 4 different calendars, and so 4 different colored of the calendars. I cut off the holes, and then I think this is about, 2 1/4. And I got all 4 colors. So there's Pool Party, Gray Granite, this is Grapefruit Grove, and Daffodil Delight. And then I tore the pieces, and the white wasn't exactly the same color as the Whisper white card base. So if I had left these torn pieces, and when you tear the paper, you tear it towards you because it leaves a nicer edge. And anyway, so you can really see the difference between the whites. So what I ended up doing is putting fast fuse on these little strips and then adhering them to a gray granite piece of card. And this actually worked really well. I ended up trimming off the excess of the gray granite cardstock. And I just basically wanted to layer these colors, and I did need a barrier between the different whites. You'll know what I mean if you ever get a paper pumpkin and you think that the Whisper white is the same. It's not. It is a white, but it's different. Anyway, so I just layered these up, tried to make it as straight as possible. And although I use fast fuse, I've learned from past experience not to press anything down until you're absolutely happy with it. So I went ahead and I just eyeballed this, so I really don't know what size it came out as. Anyway, there was a pool colored ribbon, and I made a pretty bow, and then I put dimensionals on the back and adhered that to the front. And then I was like, oh, I got to put a sentiment in there. So I went with the pool color again, and there's a tiny little hello in this stamp set. And that is card number 1. I love it. I love the torn. I love the 4 colors together. I love the neutral. I love the pretty bow. I love the really understated sentiment. And I actually dig the fact that the 2 whites don't match. Card number 2. So here I was looking at these stamps, and there's this one that has 3 kind of oval shapes. So this is my stamp set. I will never sell it. I own it. It's mine. So therefore I'm cutting it up. And you know what? Sometimes I cut even the ones that I sell too, because honestly, they're yours. You can utilize them. And as long if you want to, you can put them back to the way they were, that they're intended, but you don't have to. So this gave me a lot of freedom for this card because I was able to use this long oval to make flower petals. Kind of looks like a windmill right now. And hey, you know, there's an idea, a windmill. Anyway, I quite like this flower, and I'm using Daffodil Delight. So the thing was that we had two colors, the Grapefruit Grove and Pool Party. And I needed to have that yellow, and I needed to bring in the granite. So I am using those colors. And also I brought in Old Olive as well for these stems, because it's just not right to have blue stemmed flowers. And you know what? I have a plethora of inks. I'm probably pretty much like y'all who you probably have the full set syndrome just like I do. So I have all the inks. I was just talking to someone actually this evening and I said, yeah, I've got all the inks. The one that I don't use the most is Mossy Meadow. But y'all know me and Mossy Meadow, right? Okay, so the little pieces, I made another flower, and this one was just Grapefruit Grove. And now I'm inking up with my Old Olive, and I made a lovely stem. And then, and then of course there's little leafy bits too for the leaves. So I'm just crazy stamping, twisting and turning. This flower just happens to be Daffodil Delight. And, you know, if you like stamping, this is the card for you. I like things that, I mean, this is definitely not realistic whatsoever, but I had a lot of fun with it. It was whimsical, let's say. It worked out really well. So this is another image that was in the kit. And I'm sort of now just using a dauber and daubing on a slight bit of the Grapefruit Grove around my Daffodil Delight flower petals. And I think this one ends up getting covered up by the sentiment anyway, but it worked out really well. So I have sped this up, but, you know, sorry, I had to go through the whole thing so that in case anybody wanted to recreate it, they totally could. This was definitely the most whimsical of my card designs for sure. And I love the fact that this straight line that was in the kit, it works as a flower stem. And I am also using some of I think there was leaves in I don't know. It might have been a leaf. It was just some kind of a shape. And this one was kind of cool. I used the same stamp as the windmill flower, but I'm just crossing over and I'm inking up the middle with my Grapefruit Grove. So it almost gave it, I don't know, a sunburst effect. So just because the stamp set was intended one way, go ahead and try to think about how it would improve your use if you were able to cut it up, because they're yours. There's no such thing as the stamp police that are going to come and arrest you for cutting that stamp up. Some people call it stamp surgery. You know, I just say I wouldn't have been able to get this card without cutting that stamp up. So the gray granite for the center of the flowers gave it a more uniform look all the way around. I also used the sentiment, every day is a fresh start, and I put that in a neutral as well. I didn't want to bring in another color. Anyway, I put that one on dimensionals and, adhered it to the front of the card. But I did use Whisper White, my own Whisper White, thick cardstock and thin cardstock as well. And I actually, once I put the sentiment on there, loved it. It was enough contrast for that white sentiment to pop through and not get lost in the card. Okay, card number 3. So I'm using my smallest stitch square and my smallest stitched circle. This is a Whisper White thick card base. I'm sticking the square down. That one was gray granite. Putting a pool on dimensional above it, and then just adhering them down to a pattern that I liked. This is a very geometric looking card, very modern. The fact that the two whites don't, it actually works again. Sometimes I think, oh, well, if I just put a different color on or use a different base color, but you know, I don't know. For me, I like white card bases. Well, I guess it depends. That's what everybody says. Okay, so with this one, this little square, I ended up having to put double the amount of adhesive because my Daffodil Delight circle was already up on dimensional, so I wanted to make this one even higher. And like I did in the first card, I forgot that I needed a sentiment. So I went ahead and I stamped the hello, and then and that was in gray granite on the gray granite stitched square. And then I used the pool ribbon, and I adhered that with a glue dot to the blue circle or the pool circle. I cut out a lot of these shapes, and this was the arrangement that I liked the best. So I love this card. It's simple. Who says you have to get complicated, right? We can do simple. Card number 4. So, not so simple. Okay, so I have my daubers here. And I am daubing on all 4 of those colors. So, Daffodil Delight, Grapefruit Grove, Pool Party, Gray Granite. I'm heavier on one side, lighter on the other. So it's getting a graduation. So this is a sticker that came in the kit. So they're very sticky. I warn you. I made the mistake when I was doing one of my very first alternative videos, and I stuck everything down thinking that I'd be able to stick stuff back up. Nope, wrong. What I did was I put the gray granite on one side, the Daffodil Delight on the other, very lightly, not really touching. Then I put the Pool Party and the Grapefruit Grove in the center, and I tried to equalize the spacing in between. And then I looked at it to make sure that things, see, it's not coming up. I just needed to wiggle that a little bit into place. So there is this piece. And I think it was supposed to be where you're adhering your calendar to. It was kind of funny because this calendar had a year's worth and then an additional 6 months worth, but they weren't the 6 months for the next year, like 2020. It was just odd. Anyway, I'm not going to complain. So here I tied that pool ribbon around the thing, put dimensionals around it. I don't even know what to call it. And then put it across my gradient colored shapes. And then I fussed with the bow for another 10 minutes. So here's an extra, just a little piece of Whisper White, and I put dimensionals on one side. Actually, I had to double up the dimensionals on that, sorry. And a little bit of Fast Fuse on the other side. And then I just covered the hole a little bit. Love it. I think this one might be my favorite. I like blocks of color like that and going gradient. You can't go wrong with doing a gradient color. And I dig the way the colors went together. I don't know, this was a combination, a color combination I really liked. Okay, last card, card number 5. So this one, again, is not so complicated. This is Versamark, which is a clear sticky ink. And I did use my embossing buddy ahead of time. And then I'm just going to cover the bottom corner and going from the bottom left to the top right. And I'm stamping in a clear sticky ink. Then I'm sprinkling on white powder so you can barely see what I was doing. Then I'm heat embossing it, and you still can't see what's going on because it's white on white paper. So I skipped through this as quickly as I could. Just know that this is called Emboss Resist. So I have Pool Party ink here. I'm using a larger pad just for the video and for ease. And I just hoard my Stampin' spots in case, you know, I travel or something. You know, craft and travel. Who has time to craft and travel, or travel and craft? Like I tried at one point to bring some coloring books with me when I went to Orlando, and I colored for about 15 minutes on the trip on the plane because I'm too excited about the trip. And when I go to Greece, I'm not doing that. Anyway, I used a little bit. Okay, so I'm bringing in yet another ink color. This happens to be Night of Navy. I just want a little bit of contrast between the two blues. Then in the kit came this white baker's twine. So I tied, okay, and it took me 3 times to do this. You're only seeing it once, but 3 times to wrap it around the card. I'm trying to be real here, but not waste your time. Tied a little knot, then a little bow. I probably spent another 10 minutes fussing with that bow. Just saying, I cut that out of the video too, you guys. So, and then I just let the tails dangle long because I like that look sometimes, having the tails long. And I like small bows. I don't know, I don't like the big bows. Anyway, well, that's the kick I'm on right now anyway. So now I have to do the sentiment, and I stamped with Pool Party, and then I just used that sponge that I had used with the Night of Navy just to tap the bottom. This is my second favorite technique, I think, is like sponge coloring a stamp. Obviously, my first love is the sponging or ink blending, of course. So I flag ended one side. Then I took my bone folder and I just weakened those fibers and made a little banner shape and tucked it right underneath the white ribbon. Super happy with the way that one turned out. This might be my favorite. I'm not sure. Anything with the blending, ink blending on is my favorite. Anyway, I adhered that to the front of the card. You've got stills coming up. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in 2019. Woohoo! Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. On screen are 2 more videos for inspiration. Click on the maple leaf for my blog, or click on me to subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching.